Hi guys, and welcome back to another video where today we're going to be predicting the scores for week 17 of this the 2019-2020 Premier League season. Now before we get started, we're going to have a quick look back at not only last week, which was week 16, but also week 15.
Okay, so week 15 I had an absolutely fantastic week. I had 13 points, unlucky for some but lucky for me, and I had 3 perfect results with Chelsea beating Aston Villa 2-1, Southampton beating Norwich 2-1, and Wolves beating West Ham 2-0. So what a week that was.
Yeah, I was 1 point behind you, Nathan. I came back with 12 points, also 3 perfect scores. Again, the Chelsea versus Aston Villa 2-1 victory to the home side. Leicester beating Watford 2-0, and Wolves beating West Ham 2-0 as well. From the viewers, who were represented by Lazarus Mungo. Now Lazarus came away with 7 points in week 15.
Looking at week 16, I also had a really good week. I had 2 perfect results and 9 points. The 2 perfect results were Liverpool's 3-0 away victory at Bournemouth and Newcastle's 2-1 victory against Southampton.
Yeah, I didn't fare too good last week. I only came away with 6 points, but I did have just the 1 perfect score, and that was Newcastle's fine home victory 2-1 against Southampton. From the viewer's point of view last week, represented by Paul 2020-11. Paul didn't have a very good week, just coming away with 5 points overall. So top scorer for week 15, it was actually shared between Douglas James Horn with 13 points and Shane O'Donnell as well with 13 points. So congratulations to Douglas and Shane. Last week in week 16, top scorer of the week was friend of the show, Ray M, and Ray came away with 12 points. So congratulations Douglas, Shane and Ray M for the past couple of weeks. So overall now, Nathan, for the season you're on 126 points, you take the lead. I'm in second position on 124 points, and the viewers languishing in third place with 112. For those of you who are playing along in the Fantasy Football League, I'm going to leave the league or the top 10 for the Fantasy Football League at the end of the video. But enough of last week, enough of week 15. Let's move on and make some predictions.
Okay, so first up we have Liverpool against Watford. Now Watford getting a new manager and finally in Nigel Pearson. I think that's a really good appointment, especially for Watford. It's just how long is he going to last, and can he change things up at Watford? They got a 0-0 draw at Palace, but then Palace blow hot and cold a lot. And apart from that, their form has been absolutely dire. And they're coming up against a Liverpool team who just can't stop winning, honestly. Won again last night, could have very easily gone out of the Champions League. But I can only see a Liverpool victory here at Anfield, and I think it's going to be a 5-0 solid... 5-0 indeed. Wow. Solid Liverpool victory.
Yeah, I totally agree. It looks like Liverpool are shoring up their defence now after going much of the season with conceding goals. Last weekend they had a fine 3-0 victory against Bournemouth. Last night not conceding against Salzburg in the Champions League.
Very good, that is.
So that was good.
Especially with Haaland there as well.
Yeah, okay, Salzburg did look like they could have scored at least 2 or 3 goals in that first half, but yeah, the Liverpool defence stood proud in the end, and I think that's going to carry on to this week. Yeah, I'm going to go for a 3-0 home victory to the Reds in this one. Last weekend, of course, Watford, as you said, losing their manager and gaining a 0-0 draw at home against Palace. But yeah, I'm going to go for Liverpool awesome at the moment. This takes place as well at 12:30, first match of the weekend on Saturday. First of the 3 o'clock fixtures on Saturday is Burnley against Newcastle.
Very difficult match to predict, that
It is a difficult match to predict. However, Burnley have lost their last 3 matches on the trot now, find themselves languishing slightly in 13th position. Newcastle, their fortunes have turned around massively, looking like they were heading for relegation or, the wrong end of the table. But now they're up to 11th position, and the last 2 matches they've gained victory. I think it's Voldemort.
Yeah, Voldemort's doing well somehow.
He is leading the charge up the table. Fine victory last weekend against a resurgent Southampton, Saints you could say. Prior to that, a very good away victory against Sheffield United. And I can see their form continuing, and Voldemort leading the charge again. I've put him in my fantasy football team as well for the last couple of weeks, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to the Magpies in this one.
Yeah, I slightly agree with you here. I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think, even though Burnley have been losing their last 3 games, Newcastle don't really play well on the road. They do seem to get most of their points at home, and while I think they are going to play well, I just think with Burnley, Sean Dyche is going to be whipping them into turning things around, and their front three, I think, will be back up to it maybe, and at least one of them will get a goal. So I'm going to keep it safe, and I'm going to put a 1-1 draw. And some maximum scored last week, we've got to say.
Yeah.
Finally as well. Next up we have Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Now Bournemouth, what's happening? Lost their last 5 matches on the bounce.
Dropping like a stone.
Dropping like a stone indeed. How have you just fallen off a cliff, honestly? I mean, you're playing well one week, and then, I mean, Harry Wilson's been solid, quite a few of your players have been solid, but you just can't seem to win at the moment. And then you're coming up against a Chelsea team who are also doing quite
inconsistent at the moment themselves.
Who are also inconsistent. I mean, losing last week, like, how did you lose to Everton? And the week before, and 2 weeks before that, how did you lose to West Ham at home as well? So, difficult to I mean, anything could happen in this one, but just because of Bournemouth's awful form, it's going to be 3-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree that Chelsea are probably going to come away with a victory in this one. Chelsea losing last weekend against Everton. Duncan Ferguson, of course, taking the helm at Toffees before, who knows, maybe
Ancelotti would be a ridiculous appointment.
But Arsenal are looking at him as well. So
if he goes to Everton, then I'm calling it now. Everton will be in the Champions League within 2 seasons.
Possibly. Well,
he is a trophy.
No, I don't think so.
He is a trophy winner, and with the budget that the Everton board, whatever his name is, the amount of money that he gives to Everton is absolutely absurd. I mean, they have one of the highest net spends in the Premier League. If Ancelotti can't get him into the Champions League, then there must be something up, honestly.
Yeah, but will Ancelotti even go there? I can see him going to Arsenal myself. London,
not sure.
The likes of London, he's not going to go up.
But then again, would you rather go to a board that doesn't back you or a board that does back you? That's the question.
We shall see. Why would you go to Everton?
Because
languishing
he's
down,
going to be backed by boards. That's the thing.
We'll see.
With a decent squad.
We'll see. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Chelsea in this one. Bournemouth all over the place at the moment. Next up, we've got Leicester. Rampant
Brilliant.
Foxes, brushing everyone aside at the moment.
They are the new Man City.
In this one, they're coming up against Norwich. Norwich, second from bottom of the table. Last weekend, of course, losing at home against Sheffield United, who have been a little bit destitute themselves. However, Leicester could have had a hatful last weekend against Villa. They did. They got 4, but it could have been almost double that, I feel. And I think they're going to get 4 goals again. I think they'll shut up shop against Norwich, and I'm going to go for a 4-0 victory to Foxes in this one.
Solid. Yeah, I've gone exactly the same as you this week. I was tempted to put 5 or maybe even another 9-0, maybe just 10, but it depends. Like, Norwich could turn up, maybe they might. Leicester might not keep a clean sheet, but I'm going to take a gamble. Norwich look awful at the minute, so I'm going to say, and to keep it reasonable, 4-0 Leicester. Next up, we got Sheffield United versus Aston Villa at Bramall Lane now. Sheffield United did stutter against Newcastle, but went back to winning ways last week against woeful Norwich, and then Villa obviously losing 4-0 last week to Leicester, but then 4-1, but then again, Leicester are just ridiculous at the moment. This is a really tough one to call out of the 2 promoted teams. I mean, Sheffield United could turn up at home and Aston Villa could turn up on the day, but keep it safe, 1-1 draw, Lundstram goal, and I don't know. No, Grealish is awful. Wesley goal.
Really?
He was awful last week.
Well, people have mentioned him for the England squad at the moment.
Unless he leaves Villa, he won't get into the England squad.
Yeah. Blades having a little bit of a tricky time at the moment. Just the 1 victory in their last 5 fixtures, albeit that victory was last weekend against Norwich, of course. In this one, I think it's going to be very tight. Points could be shared. However, with Blades being at home, I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Sheffield United. I think Villa will find it difficult to go into Bramall Lane in this fixture. Next up, we've got Southampton against West Ham. This is the 5:30 evening kickoff on Saturday. Southampton a little bit resurgent. They've moved up. Well, they haven't actually moved up. They find themselves in 18th position at the moment. Last weekend, coming up a little bit unstuck away at St James's Park against Newcastle. In this one, they're coming up against the Hammers, of course. West Ham, I don't know, is it 2 wins in 14 or 2 wins in 17, something like that? So
1 win in their last 6.
Yeah,
as well.
I would have thought they'd have beaten Arsenal last week, but
they should have beaten.
They were
Arsenal.
1-0 up, and then Arsenal sort of rallied. Well, no, Arsenal rallied in the second half, came back and won 3-1. So I can only see a victory for the home side, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Saints in this one, and Danny Ings probably continuing his fine goal-scoring form.
Well, I sort of disagree with you. I'm really not sure what to go with this one. 2 teams in dire form. Not sure if Southampton can cut it at home, really. They do tend to play better away than home, and then West Ham all over the place at the minute. But I don't know, West Ham seem to do well against teams really below them most of the time, and then they have had a few tricky fixtures recently and stuff. Well, against Arsenal, Wolves, Tottenham. So they have had a really tricky run of form, and then again they did beat Chelsea. So it's really sceptical with who I should go for in this one, so I'm going to keep it safe and go for a 1-1 draw. Next up we have Man United versus Everton. Now Everton, managerless at the moment. What's his name is in charge? Ferguson at the moment. Looks like, could Ancelotti come in by the weekend? That's unknown, but he's having contract talks at the moment, I believe. And you're shaking your head,
No,
but I will laugh in your face in 2 days' time when he gets appointed.
I can't see it myself.
He's having contract talks, so
we'll see.
We'll see indeed. Coming up against Man United's side, who are starting to turn things around. Marcus Rashford is on fire, but yeah, I can definitely see Man United winning this one, but not as big as a margin that I would have said if Marco Silva was still in charge of Everton. So I am going to go for a narrow 2-1 victory to Man United at Old Trafford.
Yeah, Manchester United turning things around at the moment. Dire form, throughout the season,
Horrific.
really. But last few weeks they haven't lost in 5 matches now, 3 victories and 2 draws, and in the last 2 fixtures beating Manchester City away from home, and prior to that beating Tottenham as well, who hadn't lost under Mourinho. So yeah, excellent form from Manchester United. Rashford, as you said, is on fire at the moment. He's in my fantasy football team. He's been in there for about the last 3 or 4 weeks. So hopefully he's going to score again for me. In this one, Everton, brilliant last weekend against Chelsea. Big Duncan Ferguson at the helm, as we said, all right, steering the Toffees through choppy waters, you could say, at the moment, but away at Old Trafford, full of confidence there for the Reds. I'm going to see there's going to be goals in this game, and I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory to the Red Devils. Next up, again on Sunday at 2 o'clock, we've got Wolves at home against Tottenham. Tottenham last weekend running rampant, running out 5-0 victors over Burnley at home. However, they're coming up against Wolves. Wolves find themselves up in 6th position. I think they've only lost twice all season. Twice all season, scoring 23 goals, conceding 19.
Second best amount of or least joint second least amount of losses in the league.
Yeah, with Leicester and Liverpool, of course, haven't lost.
Of course, yeah.
Them winning all their games apart from one, which was against Manchester United. But in this one, Wolves against Tottenham, I think there will be goals. Tottenham got a bit of a leaky defence, but they're going to be full of confidence after that fine victory against Burnley last week. So I'm going to go for Desmond's in this one. 2-2 in this fixture.
Well, I sort of disagree there. I think it's going to be a 0-0. I think it's going to be 0-0 throughout the game. I think they're going to hold it up a lot in midfield, and I just don't think their attackers will be able to break through, as in your old Jimenez's, your Diogo Jota's, and your Harry Kane's, Sons and Lucas Moura's. So I don't know, I think one might slip through the Wolves defence in the last minute. I think they might just cancel out their wing backs, even if they're still playing with them at the moment, and then I can definitely see Spurs coming out with a narrow 1-0 victory. Harry Kane's going to actually turn up in a Premier League game.
He scored last weekend, of course.
He didn't indeed score, but
he was very good. He was very good last weekend.
I agree on that one. But anyway, next up, moving across North London, we've got Arsenal versus Man City. Now, Arsenal winning miraculously 3-1 against West Ham last week. While Arsenal did look good and resurgence themselves, West Ham did look poor, to be fair. But they're coming up against Man City side, who lost again last week. That's pretty much Man City out of the title race now. They did win.
Well, they're 14 points behind Liverpool now, so...
Yeah, they are 14 points behind Liverpool, and did lose, of course, to Man United last week, which was a massive shock to many people. But it is against Arsenal, and even though it's at the Emirates, I can see Man City keeping a clean sheet. But Pep is going to want them, how many is it? 22 matches in a row, probably 22 wins in a row now, until the end of the season. So, yeah, I can definitely see a 3-0 solid Man City victory, even though Man City are leaky at the back at the moment.
Yeah, Manchester City losing 4 matches this season. The 3 matches that they'd lost before last weekend, they've come back with a victory in each of those matches. So I think that trend is going to happen. It's going to continue against Arsenal. Arsenal have been terrible recently. Okay, they did get that win against the Hammers last time out. However, in this one, I think Manchester City, even though they looked abject against Manchester United, really disappointed in the Citizens last weekend. But in this one, I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to the Citizens at the Emirates Stadium.
Interesting.
The last fixture of the weekend takes place on Monday evening between Crystal Palace and Brighton. Crystal Palace at the moment find themselves in 10th position.
Derby, of course.
Yeah, in 10th position. Brighton, a couple of positions below them, in 12th. Hard one to call, this one. Brighton in the last 2 fixtures carving out a draw and a victory. That it was a home 2-2 draw against Wolves last time out. If I was going to pick a winner, I would go for Eagles, but I think the spoils are going to be shared in this one. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
So for this season, for the first half of this season's most bizarre derby in football, of course, I'm going to say a Palace victory at Selhurst. I just think, Palace with inconsistent form, even though they are 10th in the league and haven't lost in the last 3 matches, I think that's going to continue, and Brighton are going to continue to struggle a little bit. Yes, they did draw last time and get a win, but I think Selhurst Park is going to be way too much for them, especially on a derby day. It's just too good, honestly, down there. And for the most irrelevant derby in football, I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory.
Brilliant.
To the Seagulls. No, not to the Seagulls, to the Eagles.
Yes, almost a slip of the tongue there. So that concludes our predictions for week 17 of the 2019-2020 Premier League season. As usual, I'm going to leave a template of these fixtures in the description. If you want to play along, as a lot of people do now, and get a shout out in the next video, then please copy and paste them into your comment, and like the likes of Ray M, Douglas James Horn and Shane Donnell, you can get a shout out in the next video. And as usual, sometime on Friday, I'm going to be picking up random a viewer that will represent the viewers for week 17 fixtures as well. And I think you need to pull up your socks a little bit there, viewers, and try and catch myself and Nathan in our little league table. But for now, quickly, Nathan, is there anything you'd like to add before we go?
Yep, another manager sacked. Who's going next?
Difficult. Probably we're looking at Pellegrini at West Ham, I think.
Honestly, I totally agree with you. Apart from that, can't see Eddie Howe leaving Bournemouth, so it's going to have to go to
Pellegrini.
When Pellegrini goes, it's going to have to go to Hasenhüttl.
Excellent. Okay, thanks for watching again, everybody. Like, comment and subscribe. I haven't said that for a while now. But for now, we'll bid you farewell, and we'll see you in the next video.
Cheers, guys.